Hello, YouTube. How are you doing? All right, Corinne Clapham here. Sorry, I'm on a couch or on a chair. It's super squeaky right now. All right, let's get started, shall we? Okay, Corinne Clapham here, your intuitive wellness guide, psychic reader, and Reiki master, amongst other magical divine things. So, on here today, what we're going to talk about is the upcoming super full moon, and this is on June 24th. It will be at its peak around 11:39 a.m. Pacific time. I almost said specific time, but Pacific time. So that'll be 11, 12, 1:36 Eastern time. For all my Eastern friends, all right, if you are here, say hello or something in the comments below. You can also subscribe, hit the like button and notifications if you want to know when other videos come. I also do free tarot, oracle, love readings here on the YouTubes. And of course, if you want a more in-depth one-on-one, in the links below, you can find that there. So let's get into this full moon. This one is called the strawberry full moon. Isn't that so beautiful? So I don't know, maybe it'd be cool if it was nice and red, but I hear that it'll be more of a golden kind of hue. I've also noticed that the sunsets have been absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if they have been where you are in the world, but they have been where I am. They've been like lighting up the sky so nice and so pink. And so we have a couple of fun things going on. Let's talk about the full moon, and then I want to talk about the other stuff. So for this full moon, it'll be in the sign of Capricorns. If there's any Capricorns here, put it in the comments below. And let's talk about what the super full moon, what that means and what the full moon means. And then let's go into the characteristics of the Capricorn energies that we may see being more enhanced with all of us. So even if you're not a Capricorn, we will still see these themes a little bit more amplified. All right, so a full moon is when the moon is at its fullest illumination. Okay, it's at its brightest. And so that is when it starts to shed some light onto our shadow aspects. And I always have this image, this visual of like this alleyway on the street, or all these alleyways, right? All these parts of the streets end up getting illuminated. We start seeing more. If you shine a light on it, a bigger light than what's usually there, we will see different parts of these streets or these alleyways come more within our peripheral. We can see more detail what's there. So that is what's happening with us on our inner selves. We are starting to see aspects of ourselves that we may not have seen before, we may not have noticed before. And so when we start to see them, then we have this conscious choice if we want to continue down that same path or if we want to make a conscious change by healing it. Okay, or by making conscious choice. And they can come in so many different forms. We can have them as the emotions coming up. We can see them as triggers coming up. Something's happening in reality within this present time. If we feel triggered, that's a pretty sure sign there's an emotional component. There's something there that is not resolved. And it may not necessarily be this person that invoked that trigger. It usually will always resort to a long time ago. And it's just another opportunity for it to be seen. Okay. So sometimes I think about people in our lives are almost, if you think about a game board, right? And I was going to say like the game board life, but I actually don't remember how that is played. So I don't know if that's a fair analogy. But if we look at a game board or we look at a movie, it's like these other characters are there and they have a specific reason. There's a specific, reason, but there's another word I'm looking for there. Role. There's a specific role that is there. And so if we start to look at it that way, then we don't take things as personal anymore. We're like, okay, this is what happened. These are the emotions that are coming up within me. What is it that might be a little bit more over enhanced, or what is it that's within me that needs to be healed? And when we do that, we can also call that shadow work as well. That's when we start to unrelease, we start to not unrelease, we start to release. I wanted to say release and unravel at the same time there. We start to release and unravel those things, okay? And then we start letting off the load, which is very exciting because we also are working with the energies of the summer solstice that we just had. That was June 20th. And summer solstice is the first day of summer. even though it's kind of been feeling like summer already before it, temperature wise. But also, summer solstice is a big marking for us transitioning from one season to the other. So, all these layers that we started to wear during the winter season to keep us warm, to keep us protected, what have you. I mean, we can look at that as metaphors or an analogy of the things we might have accumulated, belief systems and all these different things. And it's time to take those off now. And that's why things have been very, very enhanced for people lately, because when we are going into a new cycle, we are going through a shedding and a rebirth um, transition. But when we're going through a rebirth, we would have to shed some of the stuff, a lot of stuff that no longer serve us. Otherwise, there is no rebirth, there is no growth. If we just stayed the same, there would be no rebirth or growth. So therefore, it is a process that we've all been going through. So if you've been feeling like a lot of stuff has been coming up for you, that is why it's an opportunity for you to really shift out. And we're really clearing out a lot of old cycles now. And old cycles can come in a lot of different ways. It can come out of past relationships, past friendships, not all, by the way. But you'll sense and you'll know which ones, like ones that aren't making you feel good anymore. Not that we're relying on someone to make us feel good, but you can tell when something's off with someone, whether it's in a friendship, in a dynamic or something. If you're leaving, a phone conversation or hanging out with someone, or even if it's good while you're talking, but after you have this very strange feeling, it'll tell you something, right? And the thing is, here's the other thing to watch for, because we do have one of the planets in retrograde. We actually have quite a lot of retrograde planets, about 5 of them, which I'm going to go more in detail in the Full Moon Awakening event that's coming up. It'll be live Tuesday, June 22nd. However, it'll still be open for registration, where you can get in on the replay until a couple of days after the full moon. But the link is in the description below, in the description box. So you can go ahead and register there. And we're going to go into way more details about all this stuff, about the retrogrades and the planets, and how, with the energies, we're going to probably see a lot of the big themes and what we can do to implement things so we can go through it a lot smoother. However, there is one, yes, Neptune. Okay, that's June 25th to December 1st. And it'll also be in retrograde in Pisces. So Neptune can be about dreams and fantasies and illusions, which is awesome, right? We can get more into our creative zone. However, the shadow aspect of that, if we're out of balance in that, we can sometimes have false illusions in our head. Okay. And a lot of the times it's perpetuated by our ego and our mind and our past pains. And I can see that's been happening a lot. That's already been happening a lot for a lot of people, even for myself. And so when that goes into retrograde, we're going to start to see a lot of what was more real, what was in the mind and illusions, and what was actually going on, what is actually going on. So it's important to be decisive about that. When I'm saying that we're closing out cycles, are you shedding someone or something from our life? Sorry, I forgot to put my phone on silent. We want to ensure and decipher, are we coming from a place where we might be in our ego and mind in a place of hurt, and therefore there might be some illusions or stories, and that's perpetuating certain stories that are inaccurate, and that's a whole other road? Or using our intuition, are we sensing something that's just not right? We know a lot of the times people we need to cut out of our life. We know it. Some people are really good at doing that. Some people, it is hard sometimes because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, right? Especially if you're a people pleaser. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But at the same time, I think what I'm trying to say is our main focus moving forward is really, what healthy choices can we make for ourselves? What cycles are we closing out is not always necessarily just people. These are habits. These are habits that we might have picked up. Maybe it's like overeating or eating something that maybe tastes good in the moment, but you feel like crap after, right? That's an instant gratification thing. But every time you eat that thing, it's not healthy for you. And it actually reminds me of this book I used to have. Um, and I don't remember the exact wording, but it was like you eat something spicy and it tastes good, but it always ends up burning you in the end. And so starting to see, where are you doing that in your life? What is it that you've been doing that and it's just not the best thing to do anymore. So we are closing out these cycles. Good thing is we are bringing in new manifestations. Summer solstice, that is a great time to bring in manifestations. We have a lot of good energies working for us in the astrological realm to be manifesting, which, by the way, we can do anytime. However, we also have the energies of Jupiter and all that are really transpiring our manifestations, that are giving it a forward momentum. Like, I just had an image of those wind up toys, when you wind it up and you let it go and it's just like, woo, that's how you can kind of look at this. Okay. So I veered off into a lot of different topics there that are very applicable. We'll go back to what I was saying about the full moon. We know that it's illuminating a lot of our shadow aspects for it to be released and healed. The super moon, what a super moon means is that it's going to be at its biggest and most likely its brightest. Why? Because it is at its closest to the earth, and that's why it's at its biggest. It appears as its biggest and brightest. Okay. Now we have it in the sign of Capricorn. Like I said, if we have any Capricorns here, put it in the comments below. The symbol for that is the sea goat, and Capricorns are a earth sign. So so is Taurus and Virgo. So if you're Taurus or Virgo here, put it in the comments below. Very practical, very self-reliant. Okay. And Capricorns are also cardinal signs. So cardinal signs are like the first runners. They're like the first ones that commence the seasons. So if you think about that, a lot of them tend to be leaders, self-starters. They're very motivated. Their ruling planet, which every zodiac sign has a ruling planet. So Capricorn is Saturn. So that is about maturity, responsibility, discipline. So we can see a lot of characteristics in Capricorn, how it comes to form and how it comes to shape, even just from those elements in itself. But Capricorns are known as the worker bees. And I thought this is very interesting because I don't know about you. I have been seeing not bees, but actually hornets or yellowjack. I forget what they're called, yellowjack. Anyways, there's been so many around lately. And so I realized when we're going to Capricorn, it's interesting. But I think when we see animals or insects or anything like that, there's always a symbolism to it, a spiritual symbolism to it. And we can take that message. But Capricorns are known as the ultimate worker bees. What does that mean? Like, they are very focused when they're working. They are very motivated. They are very driven. Like I said, mostly known as leaders, very goal-oriented, can be very determined, a very like work hard but play hard mentality for some of them. And so we'll really hold on one second, because I have a couple of thoughts coming in at the same time. The main takeaways and themes moving forward in this moon cycle, taking a deep breath, because I literally have like 10 thoughts coming in at once. And so I just really want to get to very clear and concise for all of you. By the way, we are coming out of Mercury Retrograde. Woo! Awesome. I know. Yes. June 22nd. Is today June 22nd? Are we coming out of... Hold on. No, 21st. Okay. So June 22nd, we're coming out of Mercury in retrograde. Hallelujah. I love you, Mercury. I do. It's actually the ruling planet of my zodiac sign, Gemini. But Mercury in retrograde, every planet has its themes. Mercury is travel, communication, and technology. So when it goes wonky, us humans definitely notice that. I had a lot of car issues, let me tell you, this past Mercury retrograde. Moving forward, I would like everything working smoothly with that. And some people might have noticed some phones, their social media, their computers, maybe wonky conversations, miscommunication, travel slip ups, things like that. It's not necessarily like it's going to happen to you in Mercury retrograde, but it's just more prone for it to happen during that time. Okay. So it does go direct, which is good news. However, with every retrograde, there's always a pre shadow and a post shadow. So what that means is before it's going retrograde, there's that stillness and bringing it back into the reverse motion. It can be a little bit loopy. It's like finding its grounding. It's getting its rhythm back, right? So that's about a 3-week pre-shadow, and then the same thing happens to the post-shadow. So now it's starting to gear up. It's been going this direction. Now it's starting to gear up and go this direction. So there's this little period of time. It still has this weird momentum getting its footing back. So it still can be kind of like a little, however, we're going in the right direction. We have the super full moon. If you're feeling really tired, honestly, listen to your body, take the rest when you need to. Do not put too much on your plate. And it's weird because now I'm also here and we're going to have a lot of momentum energy moving forward, especially with the manifestations and thinking about like, what is it that we want to bring into this next cycle, which also will have a pretty big play for the rest of the year. So I really do suggest it's not a fearful thing. If you don't do it, your life's going to be shit. That's not what it means at all. But take the time to manifest. If you have the desire, if you're not happy where you are in your life or you're dreaming a lot of things, get that down on paper. Start writing it down on paper, what you want to do, which by the way, I'm going to be guiding and facilitating all that in the full moon awakening. So definitely get your sexy booty in there if you want to just be a little more guided with that. We're going to be doing other stuff to help clear any blockages, any stagnant energy. We're also going to be doing other things to get more clear on our manifestations. There'll be a guided meditation there. There's going to be a blessing in there. There's also going to be an oracle divine message in there. And this one is super special. They're all very special, but I will also be doing Reiki on there for all the participants. So it's going to be extra special. I always try to it's always different each one, but I always try to add like something super duper fun in it. And that's the super duper fun part. Okay. All right. So let me just see what else I wanted to say about this. The main things moving forward for this theme that I was saying is, yes, we want to get clear on our manifestations. Okay. Really have the awareness of what's coming up instead of being reactory. Just be more focused on the awareness of why you wanted to react to begin with, and what is it that you can shift and change, or how can you work through that differently? That's going to be more wholesome. If you're living out from your highest self, how will your highest self react to that? Okay. There's another thing I wanted to say that I feel that will be important. I'm going to be going over 5 major things that'll be in the full moon awakening, but I wanted to at least give you 3. So there's those 2. Let me just tune in and see if there's actually a channeled message in. Don't get involved in the drama. Don't get involved in the drama. Don't be a part of it. Don't perpetuate it. Don't be part of the drama. And if you're keeping your nose out of it and other people are doing it, you know what? It's not even worth your time. Redirect your focus back onto yourself. That's the biggest message. Because you know what? Yes, that is happening probably around. But as we know, there's still a lot that's being worked out collectively in the system. What's going on? We don't see everything that's going on either. Of course, what's put on media is just one what they want you to see with their narrative. But there is a lot of protests that are going on. There's a lot of people speaking out and fighting for freedom. And everybody's got their different ways to do it. Some people don't even realize our freedom is being taken away, but I don't know what to say about people like that. I guess just send them your prayers. But the thing is, every single one of us has a contribution to what happens and ripples out. Okay. We may not feel that because sometimes we feel very small. And I'm not talking about in a worthiness way. I mean, it can be easy to feel small. It's a big world. There's billions of people. There's like, we are taught to look at things as hierarchies, and we may feel that we don't have a lot of power or a lot of say. And so a lot of people just give up, right? It's like voting and stuff like that. People are like, oh, what difference is it going to make? So sometimes we can feel like what we have to contribute doesn't do anything, but that's not true. And it doesn't mean that everybody has to go out and protest. If it doesn't feel right for you, don't do it that way. But all I'm saying is we are in the midst of a whole system that does not work, that is crumbling. We are in the midst of anything that's really been super shady, will come to light and is starting to come to light. So really keep yourself grounded and spend more time on focusing on the life and the world that you want to live in, that you want your kids to live in. If you don't have kids, I mean, if we were to bring more kids in the world, what kind of earth do we want to leave for them, right? We have a say with that, even with our manifestations. So celebrating every small win that we get, and also spending more time on manifesting. And when I say that, you know what, if that word doesn't even resonate with you, just visioning. What kind of world and society do we want to have? What kind of systems do we want to have in place that are going to be more balanced and more harmonious? Right? So just thinking about those things, spend more time thinking about the outcome that you want to see, then getting wrapped up in the stuff that you might see in the media or here or there. And if that gets you tripped up a lot, then don't watch it. Like if you're finding there's certain people you talk to that really gets you to spiral out with that, like you have the conscious choice if you're going to continue to surround yourself with that or engage in that. And I know it's hard. Trust me, I've been around people. I'm like, let's not talk about it. Then we start talking about it. We're like, let's not talk about it. And then we talk about it. And then sometimes people keep going. And I'm like, okay. I once went on a date with this guy. I said that right from the front. I'm like, let's not talk about any of this. And of course we did. I was like, let's not talk about it. It happened a couple of times, and then he kept wanting to go on. I was like, should we just make out, or do you want to continue talking about this? So not that I'm suggesting you should do that, but it's just do what you got to do to keep your mind clean. It is so important that we keep grounded and our vessels clean, and especially for the next month. And I don't have the rhyme or reason what that is for. I'm not saying that's coming from an astrological standpoint why we should be doing that. Like that's literally just what got downloaded in right now. Is more pertinent than ever. So just do it. Spend time with nature, spend time with some beautiful beings that really light you up and that you light up, and feed your soul. You know what I'm saying? All right, my friends, it was lovely chatting with you here. Happy super full moon, strawberry full moon. If you're joining us for the full moon event, the link is in the description box below. And like I said, you can hit subscribe if you want to keep in the loop with more of these similar videos. I also do other ones on spirituality, healing, wellness. I'm getting more into the love and relationships because I just always love that topic, and I'm going to start getting more into that. And if you are down with that and you want to hear more of that, put it in the comments below. That's how I know, is when you communicate that, right? And what else did I want to say? Yes, also, if you subscribe, you'll be in the loop of when your free Love Tarot readings come out for your zodiac sign too, which I'm about to start doing right after this video. Okay, my dear friends, much love and take care.